Welcome to Small Biz, Big Wins, where every episode is a new journey into the heart of entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Sommer Poquette, here to navigate the thrilling world of small business with you. Each week, we dive into the inspiring stories and joyful triumphs of real business owners. Get ready to be empowered with actionable advice and, most importantly, celebrate the spirit of small business. Let's dive into how every small victory shapes your big success. This is Small Biz, Big Wins. Let's make it happen. Welcome back to another episode of Small Biz, Big Wins. I'm your host, Sommer Poquette, and today we are in Brighton, Michigan at the Speakeasy Podcast Network, and I have my team with me. I have Erin Garms, a digital media specialist. I have Haley Rummer, the Chief Operating Officer and also a digital media specialist, and Maddie Shelton, a digital media specialist with me today. We drove all the way down from Petoskey, Michigan. For those of you that are not familiar, Keep It Real Social is based in Petoskey, Michigan, but we have a satellite office in Brighton, Michigan, and we work out of the Lighthouse, which is a co-working space. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'll put a link in the show notes. So if you are looking to rent an office space, you need a permanent office space, you just need a temporary one, the Brighton Lighthouse is the place. And it also offers event space, which is absolutely gorgeous. So today my team is with me here in Brighton, Michigan at our satellite office. We decided to pop in and see the Speakeasy Podcast Network and Rob Johnson here at Wayne Media. And my team is actually going to flip the script. And instead of me doing the interviewing, they are going to interview me, which makes me super nervous, but I'm going to let them take it away. So who's going to start with the first question? And Haley is like, haha. And those of you that are not familiar, Haley Rummer, the Chief Operating Officer and Digital Media Specialist, is also my sister. So, all right, take it away.
First of all, we want to know, how did you get into marketing and what is your background? I obviously know what it is.
Sure. So I think with everything in life, it was an accident. Like I didn't wake up and say, I'm going to get into marketing. Instead, I thought I was going to be a teacher. I thought I was going to teach elementary school, and I fell in love with teaching, and I taught preschool. I went to school at Western Michigan University for teaching.
Well, you kind of still are.
I am teaching, just a little differently.
You've
However,
got lots of little children.
Yeah, lots of little children I'm wrangling in. But I took a job for the state of Michigan working for the Great Start Collaborative, and that role had a large marketing piece because it was advocating for early childhood, and you were getting the word out there about the early childhood services in your area. And so it was a huge marketing role, and I really started to fall in love with marketing in that role. And then at the exact same time, I started a blog in 2008, and that blog just grew super quick. And I started marketing other people's products. I worked with PR firms and companies that were saying, hey, you have an audience online. I was an influencer before an influencer existed, so to speak. And you're working, you have all of these community members. At the time, people used to leave comments on blog posts. Now they don't, but you would get comments on your blog posts or on Twitter, and you had a community. And that community, you had a following, and brands started to want to work with bloggers who had this following in this community. And then I would work with those brands to help with their marketing initiatives. So it wasn't something that was on purpose. It was kind of something I fell into, and I really liked. And so I've been in it since 2008. Next.
Yeah, great. So going back from now, like knowing what you know now, going back to the beginning when you started Keep It Real Social, what would you do different? What would you change?
So I started Keep It Real Social in 2018, but I had my business since 2008. I actually had an LLC. I had insurance because I was consulting, and I didn't actually have an agency. So it was just me, myself, and I consulting and working with different brands on different initiatives. And then I had a lot of private clients. So if I could go back to the very beginning, what I would do differently would be to start sooner at an agency versus waiting until 2018. I would have believed in myself a lot sooner that I had the ability to do that and grow a team. But at the time, I had a full-time marketing job, and it was a great income, and I loved the people, and I was afraid. So I thought I'll just wait. And 2018, that's when I started the agency. So if I could go back, I definitely would have started it sooner. But if looking back, it was a great time too. Like I must have been ready. So, timing is everything. However, looking from 2018 to 2024 in these years, if I could just look at the Keep It Real Social time frame, what I would do different would probably be not go into renting something so quickly. I had a home office for a year, and then I rented something, and it wasn't the perfect spot for me. So I wish I would have taken my time a little bit more, saved more money so that I could have bought something sooner.
Which we did this year.
Yeah, yeah. So we finally bought our permanent home. I hope it's our permanent home because I didn't want to pay the Petoskey, Michigan business rent. And I thought, well, if I'm going to build an agency and have people, I want to make sure that I have a space that I'm building equity on, and that's mine. So, but I tried buying, I think this was the third or fourth building that I tried buying, and it finally worked out. So it was a good thing. But
Timing is everything.
Timing is everything for sure.
So this next question, it's kind of a two-part question. What part of your job do you like and dislike the most?
Don't get specific on people.
Yeah.
Don't call anybody out.
Yeah, I won't say what staff. No, I love all the staff members. That's a hard question to answer, but what I absolutely love every single day definitely would be the people that I'm working with, and knowing that Keep It Real Social is helping small businesses. Because that's really the purpose of Keep It Real Social. When I was solo because I was afraid of going out and building an agency, but I knew that in order to help as many businesses possible, many businesses as possible, that I needed to hire more people and train them and make a difference. And there were so many small businesses just in our backyard that every day are struggling with their marketing, and they're trying to be found on Google. They're trying to use the social media platforms. They've had bad experiences. They need help, and I couldn't do it solo. And so I think knowing that I'm working with great people and I'm making a difference in the lives of other small business owners, definitely one of my favorite things that I'm really proud of. In terms of jobs at work, like what I like to do, I really like the sales process. I like selling our services. I like talking to small business owners about what they're experiencing and how we can solve their problem for them, how we can help them, and going through that sales process. I enjoy that every day. I think my least favorite part of the job would be fixing problems that people who are unexperienced or don't know what they are doing, kind of unraveling that ball of yarn. So a lot
other clients or other agencies or
like a lot of times small business owners will have a neighbor who started a website for them, and
somebody's kid.
I graduated from the University of Michigan with a marketing degree, and I know how to do everything, and let me set up your business page, and let me set up this. And a year goes by and they don't know their password. They can't get into their Facebook business portfolio. Their Instagram account is suspended for some reason. And so unraveling that ball of yarn is so time consuming and cumbersome, but it's necessary.
It can be frustrating on the client's part too.
It is frustrating.
They don't know the answers either.
And I don't know that password. Bob set it up, and Bob's moved up to California.
I don't have an admin on my Facebook.
I don't have an admin on my Facebook, and we let that employee go who set that up, and that employee now is no longer an admin,
or disgruntled,
and we can't get it back. We just dealt with that for a client. A disgruntled employee is no longer with them. She was the administrator on the page, and nobody else was the administrator on the page. I mean, I spent literally 6 hours with Facebook support trying to get that. And I needed their business license, their utility bills, all sorts of stuff, and a certain form and document and letter that I had to give to Facebook, and it took days to get that.
That's not even from malicious content. You know, that's
Right.
just them checking out
Yeah.
and turning off
Yeah.
or disconnecting their email.
Yep. So that's probably my least favorite part of the job, is just fixing the mistakes that others have made because they either don't know what they're doing, they think they know what they're doing, or they just had the best of intentions for that small business owner or their neighbor, and they're doing someone a solid and a favor. And, you know, we see that a lot with websites. Like, somebody will build a website for somebody and they go and buy the domain on GoDaddy, and the business owner doesn't own the domain. Whoever built the website for them as a favor owns the domain. And I mean, we've had to have attorneys involved, and it can be messy.
Yeah.
And so I don't like the cleaning up the mess. I don't like cleaning my own house, let alone cleaning up those kind of messes. So yeah.
She has a very clean house.
I do have a very
Everything's
clean house.
well
I
weathered.
just don't like doing it.
Well, that's a great segue into our next question for you. So there's a lot of agencies out there, or social media managers or experts out there. What would you tell a small business to ask that agency or marketing specialist before they hire them, so that they know that they're actually qualified to do the work
Sure.
that they should do, so that they don't end up having a mess to unravel?
Yeah. That is really hard for a small business owner to decipher, right? And a lot of times small businesses will give their, let's say it's their e-commerce person that's putting stuff on the website. They'll also say, well, you can just do social media for me. Or it's their front desk person at a salon, right? Who will all of a sudden have to be the social media person. And they might have their own personal account, and they might be really great at posting on social media for their own personal account. But when you manage a business account, it is very different. When you manage a church or an organization or a nonprofit, it is a different type of management than if you are posting for your own person. And so it is hard for a business owner to decipher, especially when somebody, you know, comes to them and says, I have 5,000 followers on Instagram. I'm really great. I post all the time. I know what I'm doing, but they don't understand the business side of it, the reputation management, what hashtags to use, the strategy. And so I would definitely caution small business owners when they're approached by somebody who is beginning as a freelancer and to ask the questions of, what experience do you have for businesses, for other nonprofits, even if it's volunteer work, that's great. Like, if that person has a lot of experience, like I've run, you know, my daughter, for example, she even has going on, she'll be a senior in high school. She's managed the DECA club's, you know, social media. That's experience. Like, that's the type of experience you need to look for.
Beyond your personal.
Beyond your
Beyond
personal.
your
Like,
personal.
make sure
Yes.
that person has experience beyond their personal accounts of management, and ask, can I see the social media channels? It doesn't mean that someone has to have 5 years of experience.
Right.
Everyone has to start somewhere, 100%. But look at what they have experience with in terms of beyond their own personal. And then if they're an agency, look for their portfolio. What clients do you work with? Do you have any Google reviews? You know, what are your Google reviews saying about you? Do you have any case studies on your website? Like, you know, your client came to you and there was a problem. What was the solution? How did you solve that problem for that client? And then what were results that happened? And a new business, a new marketing agency, they don't have to have 100 case studies. We don't have 100 case studies on our website because they take time to write. But have some examples, have some proof behind. If you're going to start charging any business or company or nonprofit money for a service, you need to have something to back that up.
Like references.
References, testimonials, examples of the social media feeds that you've managed. What are some content that you've created? And ask questions. Don't just believe that they are a social media manager or they're good at what they do because they have a personal profile. So, do your due diligence. It's like hiring an employee. Yeah. And oftentimes when you don't do your due diligence, you have, you're going to have things that result from that. And
issues pop up.
And issues pop up such as my Instagram account is now suspended or, because that person didn't know what to do. And sometimes it's not their fault, but they also need to have the know-how of fixing the problem, right?
Have you experienced that before?
Right. Or whether it's leaning on somebody else that has that expertise, knowing that they have somebody in their back pocket.
1,000%. So yeah.
We can't all do everything, but it's nice to have.
Yeah, and I don't think a small business owner should rely on their office manager. We see that a lot. We'll have office managers actually contact us and say, I need a quote for you to manage social media because all of a sudden this task is on my plate and that is not in my job description. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have the time for this. And we've actually gotten quite a few clients from the office managers contacting us saying, help, like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Which is good.
It is good.
They know I have somebody in my back pocket, keep it real social. I have to lean on somebody.
Yeah. So I don't think it's fair for small business owners to
just do social media too.
Yeah. Don't expect them, the office manager, your front desk person, or somebody that it's not really in their role that, oh, you can do it. It's easy. Now, do I think that you could probably teach them? Sure. But also if you're going to, you should invest in training them, get them through a certification class, send them.
Also a service you offer, right?
What do you mean?
You will train.
Yeah. Yes, we can work with your office manager. We can train them, but we're not going to teach them our trade secrets and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to expect your office manager,
develop a strategy.
We can help you develop a strategy, and we can work with your office manager. But I'm not going to show them my tips and tricks and secrets. But if you're going to expect somebody to be in that role, you need to help them grow in that role and just not expect them to suddenly be.
Just add it to their do list.
Yeah, add it to their to-do list, which we see all
constantly.
the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Summer, what would be like your industry pet peeves that kind of give our trade a bad name out there that you see? I'm sure we see a lot,
in any trade.
But for us, what do you see coming in? Like we were talking about with the office managers and stuff being thrown into that role. What kind of pet peeves are you seeing?
Yeah, for me, seeing that gives other digital media, social media, marketing agencies a bad role or bad name, so to speak. SEO is one thing that we see often. People will come to us and they've hired somebody to do SEO for them. And that person used a lot of like white hat tricks that really don't work anymore. They charged a lot of money and the client basically got screwed right out of their money.
Overpromised,
under-delivered. That's a huge pet peeve. And we see it with SEO. We often see it, when people start and they say they know more than they do. And because anybody nowadays can create a beautiful website and have great graphics and say that they are a social media expert. Anybody can. And so how do you know? Well, it looks really good on the website. It looks good. It says they do this. And so how does that business owner decipher that? And so I think when sometimes there are frauds out there. There are people thinking this is an easy industry to get into, and they try to sell themselves as something they're not. And then that business then distrusts our industry. And
people taking advantage of what their clients don't know.
Yeah. And then they come to us and they're like, okay, you say you do SEO, but so did the last company. And I got screwed and I spent, this much money per month. And so we spend a lot of time trying to earn back people's trust because it was broken.
Right.
And that's a pet
Someone
peeve.
got burned.
Someone got burned, and that makes me sad for that small business owner. And then it makes me sad for me and Keep It Real Social or other industries that are above board or other agencies that are above board because we're spending so much time trying to earn the trust because someone broke it. Yeah. So that's a pet peeve.
What do you see as the 10-year plan for Keep It Real Social?
Well, we just bought a building in Petoskey, 625 Connable, and we have some empty desks because we increased our space and our size. And I would absolutely love to make sure that all of our desk space is filled. And we will fill that desk space when, the clients that come to us and are a good fit and we think that we can help them. So I would really like to see us, probably grow 3-4 more employees. I think that would be ideal. I definitely like to see the podcast expand. I think it has a lot of potential. I just received a text yesterday from a small business owner that said, "Thank you so much. I know you're authentic. I'm learning a lot. Keep going," because it's an expensive undertaking to have a podcast. And so you hope that it comes to fruition, but knowing that it's helping small business owners makes it all worth it.
And it takes a while to build that audience.
It takes a really long time to build that audience. So seeing that grow, seeing our staff grow, and when our staff grows, that means that we're helping more small businesses. And essentially, our goal for every staff member is to have between 6 to 9 clients, depending on what the scope of work is, what their, level of knowledge is, all of that. And so I think that leaves us a lot of room to help a lot more nonprofits and small businesses and organizations within Northern Michigan, but throughout all of Michigan, because we have a satellite office in Southern Michigan here in Brighton. We have clients in Lansing, we're everywhere, but I'd like to see us expand and help more small businesses in the next 10 years. And I would personally like to continue the sales process, but take myself out of the role of managing accounts so that I can do more selling and speaking.
Perfect. Well, great segue again. But what is your personal goals then?
Personally?
Yes.
Personally, I would love to travel more, but I think that I personally would love to travel more, but I think that that's going to just come with the growth of the agency and taking myself out of the day to day. It's one thing, a lot of small business owners are always struggling with how to not work in the business, but on the business. Mm-hmm. And that is something you hear continually on podcasts. Any small business owner, Rob Johnson and I had a podcast recently, and we talked about that. When you can take yourself out of the day to day and more building the business and the visionary role, a lot more freedom comes at that point. And I'm not there. I'm in a balancing act. I think that in the next 10 years, I hope in the next 5 years that I could get to that point. But I think that when I get to that point, and I'm not working on a lot of client work and I'm just doing more sales and stuff, I would definitely like to do more speaking. I think that's the teacher in me, that I absolutely love teaching. I think it's one of the reasons I love the podcast too. I mean, I'm not teaching preschool. I'm not teaching elementary. I'm not teaching debate and forensics for high schoolers. I've literally taught all age groups, but I love sharing knowledge with other people, and I like to do more of the public speaking, more of the workshops, more of the keynote speaking, and really just teach more. I think that's where I would like to see myself go. My big dream, and I'm just going to put it in the universe because I think if you put it out there, right, that it can happen. I would love to do a TED Talk.
And what would that be about?
I have some ideas, but I don't.
You don't want to share.
I don't want to share yet. Yeah, because I'm still working. When you actually, because I've done the research on this, you actually have to pitch what you would want to do a TED Talk on, but you can also pitch someone else. So feel free, anybody listening or all my staff here too, I will send you the link. I'll include the link in the show notes. What the hell? That you can go ahead and recommend somebody for a TED Talk and actually say what you would like for them to do a TED Talk on, which I think is pretty fascinating. So that would be like a really big goal, but I would have a really hard time right now leaving for 2 weeks to go to Berlin and speak at a conference, but I would. I'd be
You left for 2 weeks last year.
Peace out. I did leave for 2 weeks last year, and
know,
that was really great. I recommend all small businesses take time to go and check out of their business, but it would be different if I was traveling all the time for conferences and stuff. A quick shout out to our sponsor, Keep It Real Social, an award-winning marketing agency. They're not just marketers, but storytellers, making your business shine. Thanks to Keep It Real Social for empowering us and our listeners in the digital world. For your digital marketing solutions, check out keepitrealsocial.com. Back to Small Biz Big Wins for more insights and inspiration.
How do you balance work, personal life, and how does that impact how you run your business?
Yeah, I don't think there's any such thing as balance. And I've learned this over the years because I've taken every time management class that you can have. I've tried all sorts of different tools. I've tried written calendars, digital calendars, all sorts of things. And I think that just ebbs and flows with life. There will be weeks that I've got my shit together and I can cook dinner for the family every single night. And then there are weeks where it's like you're ordering out pizza and it's leftovers and check out what's in the freezer. That ebbs
That's
and
client research.
Yeah, that's client research. Yeah, we have a lot of restaurants. So yeah, we're eating out. But I think that ebbs and flows. Depending on the workload, what crisis is, what fires you're putting out, how many balls of yarns I'm unraveling at one time. So I don't think I have a perfect solution or, for any small business owner listening saying, do this and you're going to have this and this is the magic bullet. We all want that, whether you own a business or not. Like you're just like, some weeks you're just
Getting by hour by hour.
Yeah, you're 2 steps forward, 5 steps backwards. So I do my best. One thing I can say is I like to be better at disconnecting digitally in the evening and reading a book or going for a walk or just doing something to recharge my batteries. Like I look at some people I know that are really good at that. Like Megan on our staff is really great at going out for hikes and disconnecting and I wish that I could do more of that. So trying to make that time to be like, all right, I'm going to just go for a walk because I've been on a screen all day, or getting up even in the office and going for a walk. So I'd like to find a little bit more balance with that, but that's probably not going to happen. I'm be realistic.
Going off of what you said, it's hard to digitally disconnect because a lot of people, when they get off of work and they want to just relax, they hop on Facebook, they hop on Instagram. And for us, it's almost like
opposite.
Still working at the same time. Like if something pops up, you're like, oh, that would be great for this client.
100%.
So it's almost like it's still work, but at the same time, you're still on your personal profile. So finding that other outlet that's not what you're on all day.
That is so true. Like my husband is in, trucking and he's in heavy equipment and he can't be on his phone all day. So when he gets home,
we hope not.
Yeah, you don't want him to be on his phone. So when he gets home, he's on his phone, and that actually irritates me significantly because I'm like, I'm talking to you, get off your phone. Well, he's like, I am trying to relax. Like this is my relaxing time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've seen enough of the box. Like let's, you know what I mean? Or we're watching a movie, and he's really not watching a movie. He's on his phone. Because that's his.
I'm guilty there.
But I think that's normal. Everybody, their TV's on, but everyone's on their phone watching something while the
TV's on. Yeah,
but I have to get out in the woods.
Get out in the woods.
Yeah.
Like Megan is really great at that, and smelling the roses and taking that time. And I will say, one thing that we do a lot of in Northern Michigan is we do get out on the trails and our side by side, and there's no Wi-Fi. Like so,
or finding restaurants that specifically do not
have Wi-Fi.
any
Yeah,
access.
in Northern Michigan, that can be easy. But you're right. A lot of people do use the phone to disconnect, or they read a book on their phone for the Kindle, or they're listening to podcasts. And so it is hard when you're trying to not do that, but everyone else around you is. So then you're like, well, I might as well grab my phone too. And there goes the digital disconnect.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, for sure.
But how do you think that work-life balance, does that impact how you run your business as well, though, too, and your staff? And
that's a good question, because one of the reasons I started Keep It Real Social in 2018, and I was working for a wonderful company, loved them to death, was compensated super well. They were so flexible, but it's because I have a husband who does not have a flexible schedule, and I needed to pick the kids up, take them to doctor's appointments, and flexibility was 100% key for me. They were sick. I had to be home. They had to go to the doctors. I had to take them to the doctors. And so flexibility was super important to me. And when I started Keep It Real Social, I wanted that flexibility for myself. I wanted to be able to work from home when I needed to. So one of the things that has been extremely important to me as an agency owner is to offer my staff that same work-life flexibility. So I don't want you to miss your kids' concerts. If you have to leave early because there is a lacrosse game for your son, Caspian, leave early to get to the game to watch Caspian. Haley, your daughter plays a lot of sports. Megan's kids growing up. And I don't want any family member to miss out on those opportunities. Family has to come first. And if you're sick, I want you to actually not work, to heal, to get better, so you can come back and be your, best self for the company and for your clients and for yourself. You're just going to feel better. So I think because I desired the flexibility and I wanted it, I wanted to make sure that I built an agency centered around that same thing of flexibility and understanding and family first. And it's one of the reasons that we close the week of July 4th now, which I think is kind of unheard of, but
That's awesome.
it is so
Everybody
awesome.
should do that.
But one of the reasons is, what? We live in a beautiful area. Northern Michigan is gorgeous. Michigan is gorgeous in July. And there are so many fun
To
things.
qualify that, all year
July
long.
and August.
Michigan is awesome. February, maybe not.
But it's gorgeous. And I wanted to be able to give my staff the opportunity to camp, go to the beach, spend time at the barbecues, go Maddie's going on a really great family vacation for her grandma's retirement. Go. This is your opportunity to go see, experience, and I want to do that for my staff. So I think we're doing a good job.
And part of that too, what you do is make the work environment that friendly family environment too. I mean, you work with your sister and friends,
right.
And
I'm sorry that you guys have to deal with me working.
Right? I know it's a little awkward at
amazing
times.
dynamic that you don't catch everywhere else. So they're very, very real with each other. It's amazing. But no, we have those moments where we go out and we have those company outings. We'll go out and have lunch or dinner or have a drink. Those kind of moments.
Yeah.
We'll just get together and that kind of balances that a little bit too.
Yeah, I think we do a good job, but I mean, definitely the feedback from your employees helps you. And a lot of small businesses don't have the luxury of having that type of a business, right?
Yeah.
That you can't offer that. If you are in a service industry and you are a plumber or you're like my husband in a trucking company, you don't work from home. That is just not going to happen. So not every industry.
But you can make those moments. I think every business can make those moments.
You can make those
throw
moments.
a grill out there one day for lunch and throw some hot dogs or hamburgers.
Or you give everybody their birthday off and they can use that as a flex day or they can take their birthday off.
Yeah,
Or,
we try, but the feedback from employees is really most important. And keeping in mind what are they looking for and trying to offer that. And I hope in the next 10 years that we can just continue to offer more and more great benefits, as we grow. That's the idea.
Yeah.
How do you match clients to the digital media specialists?
Oh, yeah. So that is interesting because we have a very, I I think we have a great process for when a client is interested in working with Keep It Real Social. Even if we meet them at a business after hours, we direct them to our website and we ask them to fill out our contact form, and they fill out our contact form telling us a little bit about their business, their needs. And currently we have a wait list because we are pretty maxed out for our clients or for our digital media specialists. We will be hiring at some point. But so when that contact form comes in, we are seeing if that company and their needs is something we can fulfill. Like, do we have the specialty? If they want, I don't know what the service would be. Like, let's say a full branding package right now. We don't have an actual in-house person that's offering that. So we have to see if the contractor we work with has that availability. But we had, for example, a potential client, fill out the form, and it was a crochet and knitting company. So the first thing I did was ask the staff, does anybody crochet and knit? And everyone was like, what? Like, no, we do not have a crocheter and knitter on the staff. So it was hard for us to take that
Maddie
client.
hand knits.
Maddie hand knits.
That's not to say we couldn't do that.
It doesn't
it's
mean
just,
we couldn't.
it's one of the options you
So
use
we
to
always,
explore
we
the
do, we
opportunity.
explore, like, is this a client that somebody is interested in learning about that product, that service, would like to learn about that product and service? This is what their needs are. Do we have the capability and the talent to match their needs? Because lots of people come to us and we're not a right fit for them. And if we're not a right fit for them, we let them know we're not a right fit for them and who they could possibly, connect with if we know of somebody. So, like, for example, if it's a tree trimming company here in Brighton, Michigan, right? And Maddie doesn't know the first thing about tree trimming, or it's not a good fit, I might refer them to Wayne Media. Like, you have people you refer clients to that,
Or you buy Maddie some trees.
or you buy Maddie some trees,
and she learns about tree trimming.
get up there. And but so yeah, I think we definitely talk about it as a group. But the first step is when they fill it out, seeing, do we have the capacity? Are we capable? Because we want to make sure that we are really helping the small business.
And what about if it's not a sexy business? It's
there's a lot of non-sexy businesses.
Yeah, there's a lot of businesses out there that aren't going to be a fit for somebody.
Absolutely.
But what would you go with that point?
Yeah, we have the capability. This could be a right fit for us. That really becomes a conversation with the team on who is interested in that product, that service, that company. And we're not all a good fit for every client. So we really try to match the team up with the client, the business owner, the client, and, what they do. And for example, Erin, you are really, really great at understanding technical stuff, right? So we have clients thank you.
I paid her for saying that. The sponsorship is brought to you by Erin.
But I think that that's a really important thing. Like, we have a welding client, a school that teaches welding. You are really great at understanding the different welds, the technology.
I had no idea of welding, but it's amazing to see. So some of that stuff is you don't know that.
Yeah, you learn on the job. You learn on the job. Yep.
It's interesting to learn it. You're learning that from fresh eyes and from, as a social
100%.
perspective.
Which is
like
a great
what your
way to
clients
sell
would be
something
looking
because you're teaching the audience too at the same time. If
it's
something you're interested in, which I think is one of the biggest points, is you ask all of us, do you do this? Like, you asked me, do you read? And I said yes. So then I took on
read books. Now, do you know how to read?
Yeah. So when we took on our client that, is a publishing company, I knew that Maddie was really into true crime books and reading. And so I had said to her, hey, I think you would be a good fit. And we talked about it. I don't just take on the client and then just say, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, like, this is who's going to get, and then you're like, what? Like,
septic now.
Yes. But, like, okay, Erin, you've got the crocheting client.
Right.
You would have been like, no.
It's pretty technical though.
Yeah,
It-
I don't
it
know.
is pretty
Maybe
technical.
I hear it's very relaxing. and
Yeah,
I
but
probably could
it does.
use
It has
benefit
to be.
from that.
It has to be a good fit
does.
for our account managers. For our digital media specialists, it has to be a good fit for the company and a good fit for the business. So kind of, it's like a 3-legged stool. If one leg of the stool is missing, it's not going to work.
And I think back to what you said too. We are an agency. We are a team. So when you're looking at the team, it's not always at one individual person. I think you do a good job of checking in with the whole team and how can everybody help on this client.
For sure. Well, and because everybody's giving ideas. And when you are every day working day in and day out, like with a bakery client or, like Haley, for example, has a client that sells ice cream. Like you need fresh ideas and perspectives from other team members. And like we went out and took
Someone to taste test.
Taste
all the
test,
time.
absolutely.
I'm happy to
But,
Hard job.
but when Haley, and I went out and to take pictures, I was like, oh my gosh, let's get the rainbow popcorn and the Faygo and make a rainbow. And Haley's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that.
I would have never thought about that. Yeah.
So it's good to have a team.
Bouncing
Yes.
those ideas off of each
you
other makes a
have
huge
to.
difference.
Yeah, we don't work in silos.
No.
Right.
I think this is kind of our wrap-up question.
Okay.
It's twofold, and you answered it a little bit earlier, but what was your because you asked everybody this earlier, what was your big win for yourself and for your business in this last year?
Sure. I think honestly, the big win for the company was buying our own building and not having to rent from somebody, being able to make it our own space. I'm very
Being
proud of
far
that.
enough along that we can.
Yeah,
do
that
that
we can
confidently.
actually do that, make the payments, make the improvements, take care of the property. It's not easy being a property owner. Like, I mean,
It's an investment.
it is. I mean,
So I was like, Haley, water the flowers. It's really hard for her. She has to message me all the time.
yeah. Can you change the light bulb?
Aaron, can you put in the
We need a new sink. So thank God I have handy staff to help
Again,
with
it's back to
everything.
a
We're
team. We're a team.
Yeah, but I think that is a huge win. I will say that's also a personal win
Yeah.
because I think that there are a lot of things that people listening might not know, obviously, because you don't know the ins and the outs of business and money, my personal business and money and stuff. But, when it came to getting a loan, any small business owner, unless you're going to have cash handy, you are going to have to take a loan out for something. And when you can take a loan out and have saved enough to have a down payment and not ask family or friends for help, that is a huge accomplishment. And I was very proud that I didn't have to, like my dad was very generous and said, do you think you need some help? And I was like, no, I don't. Like, I got it. And so I can pat myself on the back and say, I didn't have to ask for help. And that was a proud moment for me. And that I was able to save that over these years, but also give back to my staff, pay my staff well, and be able to do the improvements on the building. And that took a lot of hard work. I think maybe I could have accomplished it sooner if I didn't move into certain spaces or I didn't, I can look back and think of a million things I probably could have done different. But so I think that was a big win for me personally and professionally. And so I'm proud of that.
Let's bring it in.
Go
My
team.
team.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into Small Biz Big Wins. This has been a super fun adventure to Brighton. The team and I went to Sonic in Birch Run, and
Big spender.
Big spender. That's how I'm saving. I'm
They were
saving
open.
by taking us to
But
fast
what do you
food.
really call me?
But we call Haley the cheap.
Chief operating officer.
So we'll close with our cheap operating officer telling you that I save money by taking the team to Sonic. A shout out to Sonic and their grape slushy with nerds.
Great slushy
Yeah.
with nerds
Grape
for the
slushy
win.
with
Oh my
nerds
God,
for the
yes.
win. So
The crunchy drink of your dreams.
Yeah, the crunchy
Brought to you again by your sponsors at Sonic.
Sonic, if you'd like to sponsor Small Biz Big Wins. But thank you so much for tuning in today. Make sure you visit the show notes. You sign up for our newsletter. You get our small business tips. Please subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify podcast. And if you're interested in reaching small business owners, because that's who listens to this podcast, make sure, Sonic, if you're listening, make sure that you contact me. I'll put the information in the show notes and become a sponsor of Small Biz Big Wins. Thanks for tuning in.